1434. I have about literally 7 to 8 pending orders right now. And then I got a new PM this week. Sorry, I don't have my notebook with me, so I think that was everything I needed to talk about. Sorry, I shouldn't have raised my hand. I wasn't prepared enough.
Oh, all right.
All right.
Next.
Thank you. All right, hold on.
Oh, is it me?
Yep.
Okay. So I got 4 flyers, 3 people for STS invites. 2 of them are actually like best friends, so I'm hoping that they will come. And then the other girl is just a girl who's in the Butts and Guts challenge. 1 p.m. 1 p.m. who reactivated. And 0 new clients and 0 distributors. But I am meeting with a guy on Friday who wants to learn more about the opportunity, and I have a couple pending people as well for the products. And my volume is 2297.38, so I'm super close to 2,500, which it will be hit by Sunday, or if not earlier. And then my org volume is 714.20. So not the highest org volume I've ever had, but it's higher than last month. So
Heck yeah. And it moved since last week. So that's definitely a moving org. And when the org moves, you do a booty dance. That's what we do. So
I did a lot last night at the gym. So
awesome, because when you don't have an org, you'd be grateful for the 700
That's
points.
right.
So that is amazing.
Awesome.
True.
What up? What up? So I got 10 flyers out so far this week. I got 1 new PM, which actually really excited me because prior to me, she had been ordering through other preferred members who she had known to help them with their discount. So she said she really didn't want to coach, but she wanted help with like pointers and tips and stuff like that. So I'm excited for her, honestly. And apparently she doesn't know the definition of what a coach is, but that's good. So I'm just happy to help her and hopefully make her more serious about her journey. STS invites, not for the week, but I do have one for sure, my little sister for February, which I'm pretty geeked about. I was talking to Annie, I definitely need to do better on my HOM invites and be more intentional with business conversations. So that's 0 right now, but that's just right now. That's not going to stay that way. Yeah, I think that's my documented volume is 938.81. I'm 411 or 410 away from soup, which I plan on having by the end of the weekend.
Awesome. Thank you, Josh. All right, last but not least.
So my volume, I think it's 981 or 980. It hasn't moved much. And I've had 0 PMs and clients and 0 distributors. And I've handed out 3 flyers. What I've been doing is kind of getting my 2 distributors started. It was kind of overwhelming because they literally started within 2 days. And at first I was like, okay, like they signed up, like what do I do with them? I was like, okay. So I had to get a flow going, and now I have like a list, like a distributor checklist that I created for myself for when I do get distributors. But yeah, I realized that I need to start focusing on recruiting more, so that I'm not putting everything into my distributors and putting the focus on them, but myself as well.
Awesome. Thank you, Jaleesa. And one thing I want to touch on, it's really crazy you just mentioned that because all you guys obviously know, like, the Future Prez team retreats in Vegas right now. So obviously, Anna shared earlier, we're all getting inspired by people that are there because it's crazy. But that's like obviously the next level training. And I've heard people that have gone to that. It's their favorite training out of the whole year. So I'm super excited to qualify for that. But one thing, Stephen, in the Future Tab chat that we reference a lot, but it has 2,500 and above, Stephen asked it like 2 hours ago. He's like, hey, what is everyone's flow when you get a distributor? Because what happens is obviously it's us in there, Annie's in there, Seven's in there, and 2 other of Annie's distributors, but he wants all of us on the same page because it's really important. So he had asked all of us that, and we kind of said the same thing, but it's something we were actually going to ask you guys, not on the call, but just in general, because you don't have to create anything of your own. Like the flow that we have is very simple, and you want it to be simple for distributors because when they come in, you don't want to overwhelm them. But we have a welcome to the team letter already, and equipping them right from the beginning is important, but we all want to be doing the same thing because when you have team members come in, let's say they want to like find a super awesome flow for themselves in the club, we want to be familiar so we're all on the same page. So that's cool you brought that up, but I'm going to send it the 4 things because Steven said one thing, you don't want it to be like 25 steps and people get it like, yeah, it's a business, you want people to take it seriously, but you don't want it to be like, whoa, this is too much information, and they read the welcome letter in like 3 months because they forgot about it or something. So I just want to touch on that as well because I'll share that in the chat later. So for us, our numbers, we're at 5,400 volume right now. The org's at 9.8, and I shared that earlier, so we're a little behind in the organization right now. We got two new clients, and as far as our preferred members, we've gotten 2 new in the last week, but we also had 3 people convert from distributor to preferred member in the last week as well. So, I mean, they're not really a preferred member, but they kind of are because we wanted to bring it up as a conversation as far as you guys when you're having levels deep. And Alyssa's talked about it a lot, and I know some of you guys are new, so you don't really have levels of people below you yet, but it's important to reach out to people. It's important to reach out to distributors that haven't ordered in forever, talk about their goals, talk about why they're a distributor. And we had those conversations, and 3 different people ended up converting back. One of them I'm pending getting her username and password and converting her myself. She's in agreement, and I'm not just hacking into her life, even though I would, and I can't say I've never done that before. And we don't have any new distributors in the past week, but we do have a car full for STS. So we're excited for that. 2 of our new distributors are confirmed, and we still have like 1 or 2 kind of pending. So we have enough time in advance to really see who's committed. Orlando handed out 16 flyers. I handed out 10, not where we want to be. And that's probably our biggest weakness right now. I'll speak for myself as flyers. Not even going to say any excuses because we don't talk about excuses. And for me personally, I was very intentional on Instagram this week. I know I talked about that with you guys, like adding new friends every day has been like a super no matter what to me, but I was way more intentional on Instagram and liking people's things. And I got a lot more follow backs than I've ever gotten before in the past week from a lot of girls. I followed almost everyone that goes to the Eastside Planet Fitness, you know, those people you recognize, and like, I didn't have enough courage the first time to go up and say hi, but I found them on Instagram. So I'm that creeper that's liking their stuff. And then when I see them, it's going to be a lot easier because I'm going to feel like I know them. But it worked. That flow worked a lot better for me personally this last week as a positive too.
Sweet. So that's what we have for the week. But what we're going to do now is just kind of transition into talking about what we all want to agree on as far as having this call have qualifications. And the reason why, you know, this kind of started coming into our head is just because of the fact of, if you guys look in our specific organization, you'll understand that, you know, as far as chats and things like that, like there's levels that you guys can enter into. And this is really just something to kind of get you guys ready. It's kind of like we're marinating you guys right now to get you guys ready of, you know, to step up into those next level chats and groups and things like that. For example, Kylie was talking about the one that that we do on Thursday at noon. You have to be hitting 2,500 to hop on that call. And it's really basically a similar version of a higher level conversation like we do in here. But it's just, you know, words that are spoken from a millionaire team level. So yes, we're, you know, global expansion team, but, you know, obviously you guys know Steven. So just imagine, you know, being in that type of a thread. But what we can do right now is we can create that standard here so that it can happen it can happen quicker for you guys to develop that muscle once you guys level up chat wise. And if you're leveling up chat wise, basically you're leveling up the marketing plan as well.
And
So
your check's getting bigger.
yeah, and that check is growing. So it's a win-win. So we have qualifications that we kind of agreed on, but like I always want to say is like 2019 is definitely going to be different. So instead of us always telling you guys, you know, what may be, like we want your feedback because we expect you guys to step up and be leaders as well. So I am going to open up the line if you guys want to raise your hand or put a finger up or say you want to go first. Trey, are you ready for real?
Yes.
Okay, so let's just go around and see what you guys think as far as qualifications. No qualifications. If so, what that looks like.
Okay, so as far as the past qualifications that we had for the accountability chat, like with Steven, like that org, all of our org pretty much, I think we should do the 500 documented volume like we did for that one, because that obviously I think makes sense for all of us, because that's 5 to 7 clients no matter what. And then starting in February for the chat and the call, because I know you mentioned both of that in your bubble video, like qualifications for the chat too. And then the other thing that you mentioned in your bubble video was like if we want to be tab team and above, and I definitely do, and I think that this should be a requirement to be allowed in the chat, because I feel like with our 90-day plan and the conversations we have in it are definitely like for people that are growing their business. So I definitely think we need to have a requirement, and my recommendation is 500 volume.
Awesome.
Cool.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
What up? So yeah, that's exactly what I was gonna say. It has to be. It's got to be at least 500. But then I think again, I know on our leadership call, if we miss 2 calls, we're kicked out of the group. So I mean, even I let Annie know I'm missing on Sunday, so she's gonna record it for me, and I am going to give feedback and give back and contribute some way. So I feel like another qualification should be at least be on the calls, or maybe you only get to miss 2 calls, or maybe not miss the calls at all, but at least make it up and let us know that you're going to miss the call. Like I did, I think I missed our last call and watched the recording and whatever, and gave my numbers out ahead of time, something like that. Just to add on to what Trier said.
Awesome. Thank you.
Hey, I agree with the 500 volume points. I think like with us being serious about being tab team or active world team and above, that events are really important too. So like making sure that we're buying our tickets right away, whether it's at the event that we're at or like within the next week. And there's something else I was gonna say. Being present like in the chat and on the calls as well. I think like obviously I know a lot of us work day jobs or night jobs, or like I'm in school all day, so not all day, but like you know what I mean, doing school stuff, and all of us don't have like time freedom yet, but I think like just even saying in the group like, okay, caught up, this is what I'm gonna do tonight. I have like an hour to
follow up with likes or something, because I think like once, you know, like you get so busy and caught up with life where it's just like, okay, like Herbalife, you're just using it as a hobby right now when you just said you wanted to be in this higher level group. And then you're not taking it as seriously as you said you were. And yeah, like you might not hit the numbers you want to hit like weekly or daily or whatever, but like at least just like a little bit per day or like even in the chat is should happen. And then also being on the calls as well. I think, I don't know, for me personally, like 2 is a little lenient. I think like maybe 1, just because like I've been involved in leadership calls and growth calls and things like that. And like, if you miss, you know, 1 or 2, like I think it was 2, but like you're kicked out of everything and you can't join the next one. So I like definitely think like we've all said we were serious about this 90-day plan. So like, let's make it serious. And yeah, that's all I got.
Awesome. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you. Kind of like the spotlight. Just like, bam.
I feel like everybody basically said everything that I was thinking as well, like the minimum of 500 documented volume. I kind of like the strictness of showing up, because that's key. And we always stress that with like our team, making time for things that matter. If your business really matters and you're going to show up regardless, like, I don't want to compare, but it's like I work a full-time job, plus I take care of 3 kids, and I still make time for the business. And so, I don't know, like I understand like life happens and there's people have different schedules, but making this a priority, because if one person is not being active and they're not participating, then it could hold us back. I mean, it shouldn't, but then we're always putting our energy into people as like, okay, where are you? Are you coming to the call? Like, what's going on? Then we have to stop what we're doing to check on other people, which I mean is fine, but it's like it shouldn't be like a constant thing. Like we shouldn't always be doing that. If we really want to grow, then we're really going to show up for ourselves and we're always going to be active in the calls and in the chats. So that's kind of like where I'm at with that as well, along with like making sure we're attending the events and buying our ticket early, because if we're growing a team, like what Kylie said yesterday in our Chicago STS, and she's like, I was scared I was gonna get kicked out of the group. I was like, wait a minute. And it was just for the STS, and I was like, wait a minute. So I bought my ticket and I didn't even know why I was putting it off. Like, I've been trying to, like, I talk to my distributors every day and I'm like talking to them about different things, because like I always come up with something new to talk about with them. And one of the things was telling them like, oh, events are important, events are key, but I didn't even buy my ticket yet. So when she said that, I was like, okay, I need to start practicing what I preach. So it's like, if we're trying to build a team, then we need to really set the example here. So I really like the strictness of that. And just like the qualifications, like the 500 documented volume minimum to be in the chat. And like one of the things that I was questioning, like if we get new distributors who want to start in the 90-day plan with us, like, because I know Steven allows new people to enroll into the Leadership Academy with their new distributors. That was just a question that I had, I guess. I don't know if that's something that we would all have to agree on. Like, what would be something, I guess, for them? Like, are we going to allow that? And if we allow that, then would the qualifications be the same? Yeah.
Okay, awesome. So to answer that question real quick, and then I'll let Kylie finish us off on this here. Personally, from what we've learned is someone new, they're already going to have a lot to learn and a lot to do. So I would say once they hit senior consultant, allows them to have access to, you know, getting in this chat. So basically what that's doing is that 500 volume, documented volume. So that's one of the qualifications that it looks like is going to happen based off of what you guys all said. So then they for one, they have something to shoot for, other than obviously enough is being 35% discount. That's already enough. But just to have them know, like, okay, like once I can feel you're taking your business seriously by leveling up, you know, there is a next level call that you can have access to. So I think that would be best to do versus just entering them in because they're new. So that's my advice for that.
Yeah. So with that too, I totally agree. And it unlocks like their seriousness, because it's kind of like prove yourself and be in this, because we've learned the phase of like people are excited and say they're about to kill it and then they don't act on anything yet. So it's kind of like tossing someone into something they may not be ready for yet. But I mean, obviously every situation is different, but I think it unlocks the door to have people work to earn things, but also brings the conversation of like qualifying DAP, and you hit your first promotion, this is what you earn, first cut, talk about DAP and all that type of stuff. I think would be a good idea, just so kind of people have to kind of like work for it a little bit, because obviously the conversations we have in here are the next level. But the only thing I wanted to touch on what you guys talked about overall, which is cool because we're already like, you know, we talked like this year, like a lot of like setting standards and showing up, and all of you guys in your shares have been doing that, which is obviously like the next level of a leader, because when you have the standards for yourself, you're like, you guys all know, like lead from the front and your team will follow. And like Jaleesa gave the example, like I'm telling my new coaches to go to the event, but I haven't bought the ticket yet. So it's like, that's why like you guys have noticed our conversations have even been different with you guys. Like, okay, we want this chat. Just to tell you, Trey, like we have the Chicago STS chat of people that go there, and we were kind of like, if you haven't bought your ticket yet, like you literally can't be in this chat, because it's confirmed people. You're going to talk about it different. You're going to invite people different when you've personally invested in your ticket. So that was what we did yesterday, just to confirm who had their ticket. And all of you guys have that mindset, and it's super important, as all of you guys want active world team or above when you're building a team, because you have to have that standard for yourself and you have to show up and lead differently. And all of you guys in the examples that you gave were really basically like what Orlando's going to share with us being in correlation, but it's different when, like he said, it's coming from you guys. So like you guys are in agreement and feel for it and what you want to involve your team in, and really having that standard. And it's like having the standard of volume points. Like it goes down to every little thing, as far as the 2,500 standard, and really like what is your guys' standard for you and your business. So I'm excited with your guys' shares.
Yes. And so honestly, like this really gets me excited, and it also gives me reassurance with the fact that you guys also had every one of you have talked about the privilege of being in the chat, or being and on the calls of having, you know, you missed 2 calls, you know, then you're kicked out. And the reason why that excites me is because just to kind of give you guys a little insight, for example, our Leadership Academy group that I host, that I'm the leader for, our very first week, and I told them, I said, look, like I'm doing different than I did last year. So our very first week, there was no action within the chats. Nobody was participating. So I didn't have my call for the first week. I told them that they didn't deserve it. They didn't earn it. So we're good. You guys know exactly what you need to do. So we don't need to have a call. So my first call was actually just this past Sunday. So this is really how I want to treat this call as well. That's why it's awesome that you guys are in alignment with, you know, you missed 2 calls and that's it. Because honestly, to even go deeper with you guys, Steven, I check in with him every once in a while. You know, I had recently asked him, you know, from the outside looking in, what could Kylie and I do better in our business? And he said, don't worry about the distributors you have right now, go get new. And so right now we're basically going against the grain, because for some gut reason, like we want to make sure that we're, you know, hand in hand with you guys. We feel the fire. We feel like you know, you guys aren't already squeezed lemons. If you ever heard the analogy that Steven had gotten or spoken about.
Nobody's dried up.
Yes.
Not on this call right now.
Nobody's dried up. You still got juice in your lemons.
You're a juicy lemon.
So that's just awesome to see, because honestly, like, getting advice from a millionaire team member in Herbalife, like, you don't question it. You actually just do what you're told. But with the fact that, you know, we're able to see the fire in you guys, we see the work that you guys are doing. You guys are showing up to actually give us a reason to have this call. Because I remember back when, you know, even when we were trying to build an Active World team and, you know, in the Get team, our team at the time wanted extra calls on top of Super's call, Garen's call, and, you know, whatever else we had. But they weren't showing up for any of those calls, but they wanted an extra call just for the team. And to me personally, use where talk at the end of the day is all you need. Like, your 10Y is all you need. Like, you don't even need us right now, you know, talking to you guys or holding you guys accountable. Like, when you guys start to get distributors, what you're going to find out is the ones that actually work are going to be the ones that you don't have to even pay attention to. Stevens signed up and enrolled us into Herbalife, and literally, like, we barely spoke to him. We got to supervisor. Once we hit supervisor, I texted him. Not even a call. Now what? He said, now you got to build a team. Got a couple people on our team, start etching towards Active World team. Now what? Like, literally, like, there wasn't no, man, you know, pouting around like this ain't working, excuse after excuse. Like, bro, like, I got overtime at my job. Like, how do you expect me to put 2 pieces of paper at a call center, 2 pieces of paper in between so my phone doesn't look like it's there, texting people while I'm on the phone, building my business and working at the same time? Like, there was never any excuses. And, like, not saying that any of you guys are making excuses, but I just want you guys to understand that the ones that are going to grow and get to Tab Team are the ones that aren't talking about what they can't do because. So I want you guys to just start distilling that into your brain when you decide that you want to start making an excuse. And Kylie is going to start talking about this, or when you want to think that, you know, you're not moving, or when you think that, you know, this isn't working for you, or you feel drained out or things like that. Like, the moment you start talking, that's the energy that you can be using to build your team, build your organization, build your clients, grab another preferred member. So even if it's sidelines from sidelines and you guys are talking about what's not working or this and that, like, that's wasted energy. So I just want you guys to start staying focused, staying locked in, and really eliminating every single excuse. We all have them. We all know we have our excuses, so there's no need to talk about it. So just keep that in mind. The qualifications are great. Before I let Kylie talk about what she wanted to talk about, I'm just going to kind of go through what we kind of came up with. And honestly, so we had the documented volume at 500 as well for minimum. And then we also had a 10 monthly STS. And that I find it very awesome that you guys said even went a step farther, and that's buying your ticket earlier. So that's leading from the front. That's doing what you would want your future distributors and your distributors to do. Now, also, what I want to ask you guys, and we can figure this out, we don't have to say it now, but when do we want to start these qualifications? Whether
put in the chat if you want it to start in February or at the end of the 90-day.
Yes.
I think we just out of those 2 options.
Yeah, so make that decision. And then also, what did I want to say?
I was saying February.
Okay, cool.
That's mine, but I didn't know if I was being mean.
That's what I figured. And then, so also, I just lost my train of thought. Yes, so also what we want to do as well is once everybody is consistently, you know, hitting 500, which all you guys are right now, then we're going to start upping it. I think everybody can agree with that. 500, 3 months in a row, 1,000, 3 months in a row. Obviously, you want to set the standard of hitting at least 2,500, but you guys know the numbers to become a Tab Team, what you all want to do, and that's 5K or bust. So we all know that standard, and that's got to be the standard no matter what. And also what has to be the standard no matter what is 5 to 7 5 to 7
Distributors, too.
distributors, but
That too.
5 to 7 clients every single month. So by default, that's gonna at least get you to 2,500, 5 to 7 clients, because you have your preferred members and then you have your distributors that are going to be moving up the marketing plan. So I think, you guys I think what we need to do is we need to always come back to, where our numbers are, even talking even higher level in the chat, like what our goal is. I actually spoke with Josh when we were at the club. I think it was like 2 weeks ago maybe, and he was kind of talking about, hitting qualified producer and how much volume he needed to hit. And then what we did is I said, you know what, like let's do the math. Don't ask me about math, but do the math, and let's see how much volume that takes per day. So versus thinking like I have a 1,000 volume left to hit 2,500 or to hit supervisor or whatever you're looking at, like do that by the day so that you can kind of track out, how many clients that is per day and things like that. So, I mean, doing those numbers to see where your business is super valuable. But I think that's all I had. But yes, we do plan on eventually hiring the minimum, just because for one, we want to get you guys ready for that next level chat in the thread with Steven. And for two, we're all declaring tab team. So it only makes sense. Like we can only sit down and be 500 volume. You should have that by the 5th, before the 5th, technically.
True.
And that's if you guys are still goal to be tab team. And that's just another thing that I want to bring up real quick is we don't need to do this tonight, but just be ready. And I think this is going to be more so on an individual basis of us reaching out to you guys, making sure your goal is still tab team. Because what happens is there's times when we will say something in the chat and we'll notice that somebody, and not saying you guys are, but and the reason why I'm saying that is because I'm starting to, 2019, I'm doing different. So I'm starting to nip stuff in the butt before it even happens, because that was the worst. Hold on, I'm froze. There we go. Because that was the worst thing that, we probably did when we were growing, as a Get team is we were holding on to things and not addressing the issue right away. So what we want to do is frequently, we want to make sure that everybody still wants to get to tab, because if you're not wanting to get to tab, we will talk to you different. But until then, I feel like if people need to be checked, you guys need to be checked, and it's only for the betterment of your business, and it's only because you said you wanted to get to tab team, and that's where it takes work.